Welcome to the Film Jury Podcast. Today's episode, we are deliberating on Oddity, which was written and directed by Damian McCarthy and stars Carolyn Bracken, Gwilym Lee, Steve Wall, Dani Odello Timmis. Oh, sorry, no. Dani Odello Timmis is one of the characters in it. So three main players, Carolyn Bracken, Gwilym Lee, and Steve Wall. I'm your host who apparently cannot pronounce Irish names, James Patrick.
I am Megan, and we are connected.
And I am Kristina, the one who has owned creepy dolls.
Oh my goodness. All right, so let's dive into a plot summary. Alone one night, Dani Odello Timmis, the wife of psychiatrist Ted Timmis, is brutally murdered in the couple's newly acquired country home. Olin Boole, one of Ted's former patients, visited Dani that evening, warning her that a stranger has infiltrated their home. Olin is believed to be the murderer. He is later found by Declan Barrett, who was murdered in his room in a halfway house with Olin's head smashed to pieces. Oh, excuse me. He's later found by Declan Barrett. 1 year later, Dani's twin sister, Darcy, a blind clairvoyant with psychometric powers, is visited by Ted in her Cabinet of Curiosities shop. Ted gives her Olin's glass eye, which she had requested so she could read it as a clairvoyant. Several days later, Darcy arrives at Ted's country home where he now resides with his new girlfriend, Yana. Preceding her arrival, she shipped a large crate containing a life-size wooden golem, which Darcy describes as a gift. Ted departs, leaving Yana at the house with Darcy alone. Yana wishes to leave, but she cannot find her car keys. Yana is frightened when she notices the golem inexplicably changing its position throughout the evening. And upon examining the golem, she finds several strange objects hidden inside 5 holes that are drilled inside the back of the golem's head, including photographs of Dani and Darcy, locks of hair, a tooth, and a vial of blood. Darcy angrily demands that Yana put the items back before she goes to bed. After observing Dani's apparition telling her to run, Yana panics and flees after finding her car keys inside the golem's crate. Ted returns to find Darcy alone. Darcy accuses Ted of being responsible for her sister Dani's murder. She reveals that she was the one to kill Olin to avenge Dani, but upon performing a psychometric reading of Olin's glass eye, discovered that he was actually innocent. Rather, she says Ted was the one who arranged Dani's murder by enlisting Ivan, a orderly who works at the hospital that Ted works at, so Ted could be with Yana and not to lose the house in the divorce. To prove his innocence, Ted offers to bring an investigator into the case, but not having his number, he leaves for his cell phone, leaving Darcy at the house by herself and says, when the phone rings, answer it. But what she doesn't know is that he opened a trap door leading to the stone floor below. When he ends up calling her, she ends up falling through the trap door. He sends Ivan after her. And Ivan is then chased by the golem. With both of them ended up, Ivan ends up getting away from the golem. Darcy ends up expiring there on the floor, leaving Ted supposedly to have gotten away with the whole thing until one final scene as credits roll, which we'll discuss. So a lot happens in this. But this was another movie that I a lot of these movies I will come across on streaming, and I'll just say, well, I'll give it 5 minutes, see what it does for me, and then I will decide whether or not I want to turn it off. And this was one of those movies that I just kept watching because it just kept seeming interesting enough to continue to watch. But I'm curious what you two thought, if you had any preconceived notions of it, if you saw any trailers for it. I knew nothing about this movie going in, so we'll start with you, Megan.
I second that. I also didn't know what to expect for this, and I'm so glad that you recommended it because this is such a great film. I was hooked by the first shot in. It was eerie. It was beautifully cinematically just gorgeous to look at. Just everything was like long shots, which I appreciate very much. It has you looking kind of like in the background to see if there's anything else that's gonna pop up. I was very taken in with this film.
I agree. I had no idea going in because I'd never heard of it before. But yeah, as you said, just from those opening scenes, it really pulls you in. It's very creepy. It sets up because it shows this scene of um, uh, Dani in the house alone, how she's doesn't have phone connection, how she's visited by somebody, and that it cuts the scene off prematurely. So you are just as much as in the dark as everybody else. Just setting up this mystery and then proceeding to set up clues so you can like follow along with solving it.
Yeah, so let's look at kind of a scene by scene breakdown. So we open with these really gorgeous shots of this landscape, and it kind of like brings us in, and I mean they call it a house, but this is like a castle. This is like a
It
castle, like a square castle with a center courtyard in the middle.
yeah,
Um,
it gave vibes of like a monastery or a church almost.
yes, it
Yeah.
really did. Um,
It had it. I know there was like a dome part on it on one of the walls.
I noticed like a lot of the times in throughout the entire movie, they really, really, really used, and this is indicative of a cinematographer and a director who is mastering their craft. Really intentional use of symmetry. Um, there was several points where I noticed it, like the symmetry of the top down shot of the
Hmm.
house, symmetry of the car parked in the absolute middle of the courtyard, symmetry of the patient's head being framed by a window in the background, the symmetry of the doctor sitting at his desk with the degrees lined up behind him. They use symmetry so much in this movie, and it was just like, okay, clearly this is someone who knows how to frame shots. They know how to draw the viewer in. Uh, they know how to visually tell a story. I thought that was
Hmm.
really interesting.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't know much about the director until I looked him up. He had also done the film Caveat. If either of you have seen
Mhm.
Caveat,
Mm-mm.
No.
um, there's actually a callback to Caveat in this. Apparently, Caveat was filmed at the same location, the same house
Hmm.
that this was filmed at. But when we're going through Darcy's shop of oddities, you see a little rabbit that has these symbols that claps the symbols together. That
Oh,
that's the
Yeah.
same character from Caveat, only in Caveat, I believe it had a drum.
okay.
Huh.
But that same rabbit character, which I thought was interesting.
I do remember they did like a close up of that
Hmm.
at some stage. I'm like, I don't quite know what that means, but that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. So, we kind of open with, Dani kind of settling into this country home, and the husband's, away at work, and, that she finds a place to give a call to him, the one clear signal in the house, which is going to be used later.
Hmm.
Her fixing the trap door. Once again, this is going to be used later. They really spend time holding on that shot of her covering up this trap door. Um, she's then tinkering with a camera that's taking a photo every few seconds. I was like, why? At the time, I was like, why is the camera just in the middle of a room? This doesn't like you're just pointing at a tent. That doesn't make sense to me. She explains it later. Um, but still, it's like I feel like you could have found a better location for that camera. It just fit with the plot of it. Um, at some point, she has to go out to her car to find something. I think she was looking for her phone and couldn't find her phone. And as soon as she goes back inside, someone's at the door, and it's Olin Boone's character who has a glass eye, this really creepy glass eye that's like glowing.
Mhm.
And he's telling her, when you went out to your car, someone went in your house. He's in your house. And she obviously is not trusting him because this sounds crazy and he looks crazy. And she finds out that um, he was a patient of her husband's, because she says something like, "Oh, my husband will be home any moment." He's like, "Oh no, Dr. Timmis works nights." And so he gives himself away, right?
Mhm.
So where are you two at with this? Because I'm pretty hooked. I love the subversion of expectations here of what's happening.
Yeah. Like that moment, entire moment is so tense because you have like, I mean, you mentioned how much symmetry there is, and you have this character who does not have symmetry, even in his eyes. Like the glass eye, the pupil's really small, and his other eye, the pupil's super dilated. So like this is something's weird, something's off, something's wrong with this introduction of this character. And it's yeah, it's a very tense scene.
For sure. I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, I feel like I didn't know who to trust. I didn't know, was there somebody in there or was it this guy that was going to kill her? Because it was definitely, they made it to be like you didn't know. They made it to be like it could have been, if she did let him in, it could have been him, or it could have been somebody actually in the house.
One of the details I really liked was his real eye shifts around a lot. Like
Hmm.
he's very nervous. His whole demeanor is twitchy and shifty, but the glass eye never moves. It is locked on her. I
Yeah.
thought that was so cool how it just creates that unease even a little bit more. Um
Yeah. Like that eye becomes a witness to the scene almost.
Yeah.
mm, yeah. So
Foreshadowing.
yeah,
Hmm.
he goes for help. He goes, I guess, to go to town to call for help. And then it kind of cuts and we don't really know, but 1 year later we just kind of find out because it cuts to a title card. Um and the song that starts playing I thought was an interesting choice. I looked it up. It kind of had that, old-timey doo-wop feel. It was the song Now You Know by Little Willie John. And the lyrics, "You never know how it would feel to be left all alone," I thought was really, really poignant for this
Hmm.
scene of, okay, she's left alone by her husband when this attack is, we don't even really know. We just kind of know in hindsight now she's passed. Um, and now is when we have a quick scene in the psych ward before we're introduced to Darcy. But the one thing I will point out about the psych ward is how unnerving the sound design is. Like you hear the screams and uh, the all these movements, and the patients are just hearing things. It's just this constant unrest in this psych ward, and we don't really know what's happening because we're seeing a different character now. We're seeing this, was it Declan Barrett,
Declan,
who
yeah.
hears something. He hears this like loud walking and this scream, and then he comes across this massacre of this, this brutal shot of
Yeah.
like this headless
Ugh.
figure now, which I was not expecting.
No.
And the shallow depth of field that it was never really quite in focus, I thought was effective, and then he, like, picks something up, and it ends up being the glass eye or what's left of the glass eye, so we were left to assume that, okay, the guy who was outside the door is now dead, okay? I'm curious where you're at with this because the only thing I'm struggling with is I'm struggling with this new character and who they are in relation to this, and like it takes me a few seconds to figure out, wait, who who was just killed? Who witnessed the like I'm just that was a little hard for me to navigate because also Declan's room looks identical to Olin's room. So I actually had to rewind it because I'm like, wait, is this someone else walking into the room? Because it looks like he's walking into the room he was just in. No, the rooms just look the same. But I'm curious where you two are at with this.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was very jarring, and it did take me a minute to realize that that's who it was who died for sure. I just looking at that body on the floor, I mean, just having that explosion of the head and the guts and or the brains, just
Brain matter.
everything just laid out. Yeah, just laid out for you right there. It was hard to say like, oh wait, who is this and why did they die? Like, what's the reasoning behind this person actually dying? But I did like the creepy supernatural effect of it. Like, you didn't really think, or I didn't really think that someone human killed him. Like I felt like it was very supernatural. So for me, like I felt like that was a really cool effect, but we would learn who it was, right after. So
Mhm.
Right.
Christina.
I yeah, it like that I agree that that scene was a little bit confusing where I couldn't figure out which character was which. Um However, I think establishing that the witness to this is Declan, who is in an asylum, kind of sets up an unreliable narrator because you see like this guy draws and he draws horrible things like all like
Mhm.
in great detail. um so like it kind of sets up a, is there a supernatural element to this, or is it in someone's head? I think that
mm,
was kind of a nice touch. But it did take me until the next scene to figure out, okay, this is who died.
But
yeah.
even in that next scene, which is the scene when Ted goes to visit Darcy, the twin sister, at her shop, even that scene, it took me like and I'm paying attention, I'm writing notes and I'm trying to track this because he says, Declan Barrett died of a heart attack. I'm like, who the fuck is Declan Barrett? And it wasn't until like I was like thinking about it, I was like, okay, Declan Barrett was the guy who saw Olin Boone dead and took his eye. But why does Declan Barrett have to die? Like I was just that didn't make I didn't understand that. Did they kill Declan Barrett? They say he died of a heart attack. Like that part I never really got. So it just took me a second. I almost think you didn't need Declan Barrett's character. I think you could have removed that, found another way to, show without showing. Cause I mean, part of it was they wanted the tension and that uncertainty, as Christine was pointing out, of like
Hmm.
what is happening that we're only hearing. I feel like there was another way that could have been done without this other character who, you know, Olin was the witness to Dani's murder, and now Declan's the witness to Olin's murder. We just have too many witnesses here. Um, so
I
that just
will
got a little muddy for me.
Yeah, I will say I think the reason Declan was kind of important was for because of his drawings, because after which he does draw
Mm,
the wooden golem that we see later.
mm,
And the doctor
true.
like sees those drawings and like makes that kind of creepy connection.
I feel like you could have Olin. Like, what if the golem was stalking Olin for a while before it got to him?
Yeah.
And Olin's now like depicting this. Like, I just feel like that was just an unnecessary addition, but I think it might just be splitting hairs. Um, I love Darcy's character.
Oh yes.
Like,
Mm, yeah.
uh, it they had to really spell it out that they were sisters because I don't even think they look the same.
It's the same actress.
I know
Same
it's the same
actress.
actress. I know, but she just
Oh,
looks that different.
Yeah,
you
it
did.
took me until like there was a recording of the
Mm,
sister of Dani, and when I was hearing that voice, I'm like, oh, it is the same actress. But yeah, at first glance, because their entire demeanor is different, it's
Mhm.
wonderful.
yes. I
And
agree, and I got it when she started talking, then I was like, "That's the same voice, like,
Hmm.
it's the same person." But yeah, the same, like, you couldn't recognize if you put them by, each other, they would look totally different twins.
mhm. We have another great shot of symmetry, which is when it introduces her to begin with, it starts with the camera hovering over the bell, the door hop bell,
Yeah.
before like slowly zooming out. Another great slow burn shot. I think this scene of Ted and her in the shop together, I love. I don't know if you caught the little quip where, Ted is affirming that he's a man of science, and she says, um, it was always a hope of my sister's that she would open that closed mind of yours. And while
Mhm.
she says that, he is playing with a skull, opening the skull. That is so fun.
I did not clock that.
Yeah.
That is so, like
Yeah.
he closes
It
it
was
the
great.
second she says, oh yeah, she always wanted to open that closed mind of yours. He immediately just closes the skull. I
Closes
mean,
it.
that
That's well done.
that
Very
is
well
just
done.
such a well-crafted scene. I just have
For
to
sure.
ask from a logic perspective, why did he give her the eye?
That's a good question.
Why is he giving
Very good question.
Darcy anything?
Like,
Anything?
he
Why is he
knows
pretending to be involved in her life at all?
he knows what she does for a living. He knows, I mean, at least he knows that she claims.
He clearly doesn't believe it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um yeah, I assume she kept pestering insistently. Like, she definitely is a character that, like, gets in your way if she isn't getting what she wants.
Maybe. Maybe. I feel like he could just be
Yeah.
like, that's evidence.
Yeah.
Like sorry, it was taken by the police when they took the body. Like
Yep.
there is of no benefit for him to give this to her. Even if
Right.
he
Yeah.
doesn't believe her,
Agreed.
even if, and we find that this is a character of extraordinary hubris, it still doesn't track.
Mm-mm.
Um,
Like,
but nonetheless,
it would always be more believable if the detective did. Like, if Darcy had gotten close
Mhm.
to the detective
yes,
and
Yeah.
the detective, like, felt sorry for her.
yep. But clearly, she touches the eye. She sees something that doesn't track with what she thought happened, which was Olin
Mhm.
Boone had killed her sister. She returns to her apartment, which is another logic area that I struggle with. In her apartment, she has framed photos of her and her sister. Why?
To
She
Well,
feel
doesn't
connected.
she doesn't live with anyone. I don't know who's looking at these pictures.
so, like, there are degrees of blindness, and it's never established how blind is blind, because, like, you could be legally blind but still see, like, a pin drop's width, right? Um, so it's unclear.
Yeah, no,
I
it was
I wondered if she was born blind or she went blind because of the tumor.
Yeah.
that was the hint they gave, right? But they never say
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
So I think maybe she went blind and actually had it set up to where she had pictures of her and her sister and then went blind.
Mhm. I would have liked there to be something there other than just this is clearly just to beat us over the head now that they're twin sisters. We knew that from the last scene, but now we just need to hit it again. That
Yeah.
they're twins.
I do also think that she has some modicum of vision, because I do believe we see her turn on lights, like, when she goes
Yeah.
into her shop. So,
Oh,
Mhm.
well, no, she has customers. Like that could just be for customers.
well, no, when she comes back to get the doll, she turns on the light.
Yeah.
Mm.
Pretty sure, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, no, we gotta.
Yes, she does.
So I do think, like, there might be a little bit of vision left. Not full
So
dark.
where are you at with Ted right now? Because I'm clearly looking at Ted like he's a bad guy. This is
Yeah.
not someone
From the
I'm
get-go.
meant to like.
From the
Yeah,
get-go.
yeah. That first scene with him, like, when he's talking on the phone with his wife, he sounds disinterested. And even, like, framing wise, when he's talking to her, like, the camera's, like, stays still on him, but he turns around as if he's turning his
Mhm.
back on her.
Hmm.
Mm,
Um,
good catch.
so, like, from the get-go, I'm like, I don't trust him. He's involved. Somehow he's involved.
Yep. Same. Yeah,
So
I
at this
definitely felt he was a bad guy.
Mhm.
Yeah. At this point, we meet Yana, who's Ted's new girlfriend. Um, and here's, I mean, there's a few scenes in this movie I find frustrating. Yana as a character, I find frustrating. And the reason I find it frustrating is I don't understand what she's getting out of this. This is not a very, like, this doesn't seem like that attractive of a person. He clearly has no emotional availability for people. Maybe he has money, although how far is that going to get you? It's just I don't understand. Like, what is she getting out of this? Because
A
she
lot,
clearly seems frustrated with him as well.
yeah, a lot of the, I would say there's a lot of thrill when it comes to cheating. And once it's no longer cheating, that does peter out. Like, so that probably their initial attraction had a lot to do with that.
Okay. When she reveals that, oh, by the way, I have photos of your dead wife's ghost in the house. She did like if I saw a ghost in the house, the second you walk through the door, I'd be like, the fuck just happened while you were gone? Check this shit out. Look what I
Yeah.
fucking got.
And she said, "Oh, I took
Yeah.
these 2 days ago." Like, okay.
Well, she
And she
hasn't
does
seen
it.
him for 2 days because
Yeah,
he
she
hasn't been
does
around.
it
Apparently.
while she's getting ready to leave. She's like, "Oh, by the way,
Like,
you know, I bought cereal and I photographed your dead ex-wife or your dead
uh,
wife." Here's another question I have. Okay, how did Darcy get there?
I think she took a cab
Where?
'cause I think
yeah,
I think you hear the cab leaving.
Oh, you do?
yeah,
Okay. I
Yeah.
had the
yeah.
volume my kids were asleep, so I had the volume on pretty low.
I'm pretty sure you hear a car, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I missed that. All of a sudden, Yana just is, like, displaying this psychic power of, "Oh, she's outside right now." Like, how do you know? So Darcy had sent this trunk in advance, um, or this crate,
Yeah.
and she's saying it's a
Yeah.
gift. And then she
Something that she
said,
inherited from her mother.
yes, who something about, like and s one of you will have to remind me, how did this come into their possession? Something like
Just a
So,
someone
gift.
got it on a wedding
yeah.
anniversary?
Yeah, 5th wedding anniversaries, you get something wooden, apparently. And a
Yeah, and the
witch
mom got it. Hmm.
mhm, gifted it to the mom for their 5th wedding anniversary.
Okay, so this
I
is
wish
just
there was
in
more to that though.
I
yeah.
do, but I also kinda like the mystery. I like
Mm,
certain things when they're not explained, it's just a paranormal thing. And it's very, like, Darcy's very much completely entrenched in this world, and apparently her mother was too, so it is a family business, as it were. Um, so I like that history without explaining it too much.
I would
So
have liked a little bit more, just a little bit, like
well,
just for them to, just say like not. It's I'd like you to have it. Well, why would you like him to have it when it's been in your family, for 5 years or whatever? So
yeah.
Well, she actually says, she would be happy to know I sent it here. Not not that I'm giving it to you, that I sent it here, which is like
mm,
foreshadowing that she's gonna use it to kill somebody.
that makes sense.
I'm gonna agree with Megan in that I just want there to be one other establishing scene that explains Darcy's connection to the paranormal. I don't need it. I don't need to see her doing a ceremony or a ritual summoning a spirit into the golem. I don't need that. But I need there to be some other establishing factor other than just a slow panning of shots in her shop of curiosities to show her connection to this other side. Like, did this happen from the brain tumor? Was that when this whole thing
Mhm.
like I don't know. I just want there to be a little tiny bit
Well,
more to root her in this.
okay, well, we do have the objects that are in the golem. The blood, the hair, the photos. That's the ritual. And
Yeah.
you had mentioned the camera at the very beginning. The wife had set up a camera, or Dani had set up a camera to catch orbs, ghost orbs.
Correct.
So Darcy was always interested in the supernatural, always had that connection to the supernatural.
Okay. So is it something that she got from her mother? Like was her mother a witch?
It doesn't sound like her mother was a witch because it
But
was
her
gifted to them from a witch.
Okay, okay. But there's something there that we just don't know. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
just
it
think
is left vague.
overall, like an overarching take on this is we don't get enough Darcy in this movie.
Fair.
She's the
Yeah.
clear
100%.
She is awesome.
yeah, she's the best part of the movie.
hmm
The strongest actor, the strongest written character, and I
Mhm.
just wanted more of her throughout it. Um, but all of a sudden, at some point, the golem's out of the box, and my opinion is holy shit. It's so fucking
Uh,
creepy.
It's creepy.
it really is.
I
I
think I saw the creator loved movies like Chucky or Child's Play.
mhm.
Uh,
Liked the doll concept, just wanted it bigger.
mm. Well, it's
I
definitely bigger.
well, and I like how almost every scene of it's out of focus.
Mm.
It's just in the background, so all you
Yeah.
see is this like this shape with this gaping wide mouth that is like pure black.
Yes.
And then when it finally is in focus is when Yana's on the second floor looking down and just sees it looking up at her.
hmm
What a great cut.
That was awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying. Like I jumped. And I talked about in the last episode how much I prefer earned scares and not cheap scares. That was an earned scare. That was a scare that
hmm
delivered. That wasn't, a cat jumping out, someone slamming a door. Like that was you earned that. That was a justified scare.
I think all the scares in this movie were justified and earned. I really enjoyed not having to jump every 5 seconds, but actually like having those great scares,
Yeah, and
like they
having
were,
tension build.
yes.
So we have Darcy and Yana at a very very like tensions high dinner together, or hors d'oeuvres. She put out a charcuterie board for her, which I love how Darcy just like fingers over it and
Uh,
then like doesn't take anything, and you just see Yana's disgust
yes.
of it. Like so well done, so
hmm
so so clever, and clearly Darcy knows a lot, and she's prodding Yana with her
Well,
questions.
she also
Mhm.
probably overheard it because Yana's discussion on the phone, she basically spells it out. And this is a house with an open layout,
Yeah.
stone walls, stone floors. Like, I know Darcy was quote unquote asleep, but why would you have that discussion?
Right.
That was for the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was clearly for the audience. Um, but one of my favorite lines is in this conversation where, and I laughed out loud, like when this happened, um, where Darcy retorts at Yana, "I don't know if you look stupid, but you sound stupid."
hmm
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, that is such." I was just like, "Oh, that's
Yep.
so well done."
Yeah.
That was a great line.
Um, so at this point now, we go into a flashback. And when I mentioned like there's parts of this movie I struggle with, this flashback is something I struggle with. Did we need it?
I think it was visually satisfying, except for the part where she goes into the tent.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Why the
That,
fuck are you going into
Yeah.
the tent?
that made me
Yeah.
so
And
angry.
I kept screaming, hammer, hammer, grab the hammer. I kept
Yeah.
screaming that. Like, why
she
would you
goes
leave
into the
that
tent
behind?
to look at her photos, which we know is gonna show something, like, we're not so, okay, yeah, it's visually well done, but I think narratively, I think it was scarier not knowing what happened to her, and that ambiguity. I thought that was way scarier than, "All right, now we're just gonna show you this man in this creepy mask attack her." So we now know that Olin Boone was not the murderer in this. I just don't it just felt like you're not trusting your audience now, and I didn't really
Mm,
care for that. That being said, I do like the cut they did where the camera doesn't move. It's the side view of him going into the tent, and
Hmm.
then it hard cuts to him sitting outside the tent covered in blood, and you see blood on the inside of the tent. I like that
Yep.
they didn't
well
show
done.
it.
Yep.
Well done.
Although that killer popping his head around, that was a good jump scare.
Yeah.
That was a good jump scare.
It was a creepy mask too.
Yeah, it was.
Um, then we go to another flashback with the security guard interacting with Olin Boone.
Orderly.
Oh, sorry, the orderly. Yeah. What was his name? Ivan.
Ivan. Yeah.
Um, and okay, now we're kind of in two back-to-back flashbacks. So we're just in like this heavy exposition point of the film after we had built up so much good tension, especially between Darcy and Yana. And the golem is now showing signs that it's moving around. Now all of a sudden I just feel like we're deflating a bit.
Mm.
Here's a curiosity. What is Ivan's motivation in this?
He wants to kill. Ivan
Yeah.
was a patient. Like they dropped that somewhere later in the film that he was a patient before, but they never say what he was in for.
Yeah.
Um, so it, I assume it's something violent, and he wants to be violent again.
Is that enough?
No. I think he wanted the doctor's approval and friendship from the doctor because they talked about
That
going
too.
somewhere.
Yeah.
I really feel like he needed the approval. So for whatever reason he was in that asylum, I felt like he needed someone's approval and someone to say it's okay and you're good, you're doing good, you know.
I read it as he was interested. He wanted the doctor. Period.
Mm,
Possibly.
I I I saw that his like the time that they're spending playing chess together, the time he's trying to establish a personal connection to him, to have conversations with him, inviting him to places. And clearly the doctor's not interested. Like I don't know what does this doctor have that is luring everyone to him? I've yet to figure out.
I don't know.
But
I,
I took it as like there's like a kind of like a latent homosexual desire that maybe he's repressed for a
quite
long
possibly.
time, and this is his way of achieving approval of someone that he desires.
Yeah, because he did say that he went to like a Christian school. That's the place that they were going to go visit.
I mean that
Um,
yeah, that plays a trope into it.
and he talked about how they keep putting up this metal cross, and he goes there to tear it down. And says he's going to go visit again, probably to tear it down. In that scene, I was wondering if that was some sort of code. Like he wanted to kill again and was
Mm,
looking for permission from the doctor or even
yeah.
participation from the doctor.
Mhm. So we then go back to Yana, and it feels like it's Danny's ghost that gets Yana to run away.
Hmm.
What does Danny's ghost have a stake in Yana's survival for, other than another jump scare?
That yeah. That was the one thing I didn't love, especially the bad CGI where her face is coming out of the shadow in the doorway.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was bad.
I don't like if we're gonna have Danny's ghost in here, why do we need Darcy as a clairvoyant?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
Danny's ghost can communicate and navigate things, what is the point of Darcy having these powers?
I
Unless they're saying, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, like, it the only thing I could think of is to establish that the supernatural is real. But it's not needed.
We've kind of already established that. Um, it
Yeah.
it just felt like we're now cramming a lot of stuff in here
Mhm.
that I
Yeah.
don't know if it needs to be in here. Um, but
Was
Ted's
thinking
back. Go ahead.
I was just thinking that maybe, they say we are connected, right? During the film. So maybe just to make sure that she gets out of the house and leaves, that, this clairvoyancy thing like was brought up by her sister and not by um or something supernatural. But like she was trying to leave anyway, so I guess that really wouldn't make that much sense.
Mhm. So we're now at a point where Yana bolts, understandably.
Mhm.
I feel like I would have bolted the second I saw the ghost in the camera, but sure. Ted's back and Darcy confronts him. And Ted finds an excuse to leave and set a booby trap for Darcy via a trap door that we saw in the opening establishing shots here. Um, and Darcy, I guess, just sits there while Ted goes all the way back to the hospital to send Ivan now after Darcy.
Mhm.
This is a. I feel like we're down to the last few minutes of the movie, and now we're just kind of racing towards the end where everything was so well paced before, minus all these kind of erroneous flashbacks. Now we're just kind of rushing. We're like sprinting towards the end here. We don't have a lot of time left in the movie, and we just have to cram a lot of stuff in. Hey, go, Ivan, go kill this person. Why? Reasons. Okay. Ivan goes to kill her. All of a sudden, the golem is now. Oh, and she fell, so she's dying anyway. And the
Which
golem is finally doing something.
I understand that there's stone floors, but that didn't look super high, and she
Hmm.
sustained a lot of damage.
I feel
Yeah.
like
And
you would land on your legs and break both your legs. Why?
yeah,
It felt
well,
like she was bleeding out of
Mm.
her head. I don't
and
know
then
how she.
yeah, that happens to Ivan where he falls and breaks both of his legs, or
Yeah,
one of his legs at least.
Yeah.
Like, I yeah, that was a lot of damage for a fall that didn't seem that.
yeah. No one told her to swan dive and go face first, and she didn't go face first. She went legs first. Like
No.
it doesn't make sense. Like
Right.
you, yeah,
And it's not like she hit her head on the side of the trap door or anything. She just falls straight through.
yeah.
Hmm.
That was weird to me how incapacitated she was, and I think it was just so okay. The golem needs to do something. It's been creepy this whole time. We need to see the golem do something. Um, I feel like I didn't want to see the golem move. I feel like I was more scared of it when it moved off camera, or if it had moved and it was out of focus, which I don't think we saw. But like if you saw its head slowly turning in the background or something like that, without even drawing attention to it, I thought that would have been more effective. Seeing it kind of walk around, I was like, oh,
It's
well,
all
now
right.
it just feels like a guy in a suit, and it doesn't do anything. It just kind of chases the guy.
Yeah.
So, all right. Oh, and then I skipped over this, but this is also something to point out, which is okay, the doctor's motivations, which are, we have this other flashback of, why don't you just divorce her? Oh, she loves me. She'll never get over me.
Oh,
That
that's
seems
rich.
a bit weak. Like
Okay.
he didn't want to lose the house because that was all of his money apparently. Um, was it strong enough? No, but people have killed for less.
I, I, if,
Perhaps.
okay. So if this is the doctor, this guy who's just completely saturated with egotism and
Mhm.
hubris, we needed a little more evidence of this. Like this is a
Hmm.
very one note character, and the actor's just not giving much to the character. I feel like I just wanted there to be something else that personifies the fact that he is that in love with himself. And all he really does is seem disinterested in everyone. He seems disinterested in his wife. He seems disinterested in his
Yeah.
girlfriend, and he seems disinterested in this orderly who seems to have some sort of connection to him. But like the reasons for like having someone murder your wife feel vague and shallow.
Well, he is a shallow
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, true.
But we don't even see
I,
anything that indicates a shallowness either.
I
yeah.
mean, we
I
see
feel like
like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, I feel like if there was like an actual ongoing, just him cheating with someone else in a scene, to just kind of show that, hey, this is someone cheating with someone else,
Hmm.
during this other scene. So the same thing's gonna happen to Yanni. And that's why she was scared out of the house because, the ghost knew that this is just an ongoing thing. Like I feel like that could have like sealed up a couple gaps or
Yeah.
showed some, yeah.
Like there are hints that like of how shallow of a person he is, like his disinterest when he's talking to his wife at the very beginning. Um like obviously the cheating, and then like they haven't been together a year and they're already like butting heads. So
Yeah.
it's there. Is it concrete enough? Meh.
Here's I'm going to do a correlation because there's another movie that I think this was done a little bit better, not perfect, but better. I recently had watched the original Candyman,
Mm.
and Virginia Madsen is the lead protagonist in this, and she is doing her dissertation and chooses to focus on this urban legend of Candyman and the Cabrini Green projects in Chicago. And the thing that was in the subtext that I thought was effective that I wish they spent more time on is why is this grad student spending all this time and energy on something that she has no connection to? And the hint that I would have loved to see explored more is the fact that her husband is a professor at the college that she's getting her degree at.
Mhm.
And the impression is she was his student. And he is now cheating on her with another student. So she has served her usefulness to him, his curiosity in her, his excitement
Mhm.
in her ideas, in her mind, in the things she does. That has faded, and now his interest is in another student, which is propelling her to do something bold and exciting and risk taking, maybe to capture his attention again. It was all in subtext that I wish they spent more time on, but that is something I would have loved to see in this movie, which is let's give a little bit more to the characters that explain why there's a motivation to do what they're doing. I want my wife dead because to me is not enough. And I don't think there was enough evidence given to us that really spelled a story of his egotism beyond the fact that he just doesn't seem interested in anyone. But yeah, I think like having the next thing, the next Yana in tow would have added another element to it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, but as I mentioned, we're racing towards the end. Ivan escapes barely, but next thing we know, Ivan is wakes up and is now held captive, and this prisoner that we've only seen the back of their head the entire movie is set free, who is like clearly they're emulating Hannibal Lecter with the mask, and he
Hmm.
then I assume he eats Ivan because he takes a big bite of him, and that's the last we see of Ivan.
Yeah, this doctor has now had two patients in short
Mhm.
succession die under his watch. Like,
I don't know what the licensing board is at this hospital, but clearly
Yeah.
we're not gonna spend any time thinking about that.
no.
And neither should he, because he comes home to another gift from Darcy. Which two things. One, where did the golem go?
Mhm.
Probably taken away as evidence. I assume it was still there.
It's gone. The crate's gone. It's just like no more golem.
Yeah.
No more golem. We're done with that jump scare.
I mean, because the police would have had to come to clean up Darcy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
move like get the orderly Ivan to a hospital.
But he has another package, and it's the bell that we saw in
Mhm.
Darcy's shop, the one she was holding, and she had told a story when she was holding it, which is, this bell is supposedly haunted. The last 2 people who've rang it died under mysterious circumstances, and it's said to be haunted by an old bellhop.
Bellhop.
Mm.
And he's like, "Well, why don't you ring it?" Well, the last people who rang it died. You shouldn't play with these things. When did she send this?
Before.
Yeah.
Why
She
She
did the
had to
kind
golem
before she left.
arrive like
I
a long time before this? Did she like do a delayed shipment? Like, we're going to have this
Probably.
shipped, but
yes.
have it arrive a week later.
I think Darcy planned not to survive in some way or
Yeah.
another. Um, because they did bring up her brain tumor quite like a few times. Like she wasn't expecting to live through it, or like she expected
Yeah.
something bad to happen to her. So set up a contingency. That's my thought. Um,
Yeah.
like
I agree with that.
mhm. She wanted her last
I
act
think,
to get him. Yeah.
yeah, she went in to kill Ivan, right? So she would either die or she would be in jail because she killed Ivan. So for killing her sister.
So did she assume that, now that I'm thinking about, did she assume that the doctor would send Ivan? Because if you're going after Ivan, why wouldn't you go to the hospital? Why would you go to Ted's?
She asked him to send Ivan.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like when they were at the house together and Ted was like, "Well, I'll call the detective." She's like, "No, you need to send Ivan so I can take care of Ivan." There is also the fact that, and this kind of taps into like witchy lore and balance and stuff, but um Darcy killed an innocent man. And she even makes the comment, "I will have to pay for that."
Yes.
Yeah. So her death is kind of an atonement, I think, as well, like
Mhm.
bringing things back to balance. So that's also why I think she was
Yes.
anticipating it.
Okay. All right. Well, we're at that part that we get to pass judgment now. Let's start with Megan. Megan, how do you rank Oddity?
I w- uh, I'm so mixed on this one. I really loved it. I loved the aesthetics. I loved, the acting in it. I thought it was beautifully done. I do have questions about the script though, and there were holes in it, and so I'm gonna have to go with a 3 gavel.
3 gavel. Okay. Christina.
I really liked this movie. It did have its problems, yes, but I love a movie, especially a horror movie where the hero has agency. And our protagonist was also kind of the antagonist. She was in charge of controlling the monster, which I thought was really cool. Um, and despite its problems, like I had a really fun time watching it, so I give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay. Um, I'm closer to Christina on this. I said on the last one on Dangerous Animals that I wish I could do half scores, because I would rate it. I gave it a 3, and I says I would love to give it a 3.5. This movie, I'm going to give a 4, but I wish I could give it a 3.5. Um, the baseline is, was I entertained in this movie? And the answer unequivocally, yes. This I
Hmm.
found a very entertaining movie. I really enjoyed so much of like how the tension was built in, the cinematography, the sound design, the actress who played Darcy, I thought all phenomenal. The design of the golem I thought was so unnerving. Um, there's so many well executed points of this movie, and then there were elements that I really struggled with. I struggled with the lack of structure in the narrative. I struggled with the lack of motivation in the characters. I did find the golem to be not scary when it became fully animated, and I felt like the conclusion of this um, really left a little more to be desired. I feel like there was some buildup that didn't deliver. But overall, I really enjoyed this movie. This is the second time I've watched it, and I would watch it again,
Hmm.
which I think is the mark of a good film. So I would say this is a good movie. I would recommend it. It does have flaws. It does have issues, but I'm going to give it 4 out of 5. So that gives us a total of 11 out of 15 gavels. So hold on, I have to pull up my little score chart here. So this is a recommend with confidence, and I think everything I've heard would agree with that. This is a strong film. It has a lot going for it. There's a lot of things that we would prefer to see, or we would like to see done better, or more clearer, but doesn't take away from the fact that this was an enjoyable film. So, uh, available on streaming now. You can check out past episodes of the Film Jury podcast wherever you get your shows. We've logged a few already, including Dangerous Animals, which I just had mentioned, as well as Shelby Oaks. We have our upcoming It recap where we are rewatching the It films from the 1990, the 2017 reboot, as well as the sequel to the 2017 reboot, in honor of the new HBO Max show that just hit streaming, Welcome to Derry, which is a prequel to the Andy Muschietti reboot film. So you can check all those out wherever you get your podcasts, plus YouTube. I want to thank both Meagan and Kristina for being a part of this episode, and we will catch you all in the next screening. Take care, everyone.